From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Our phone lines open as always here on the program, 737-7767. The number if you would like to join in with us tonight. And we're going to talk a lot about the Titans. Of course, victorious on Sunday, 34-3 over the Dolphins at Nissan Stadium, clinching back-to-back AFC South championships, and of course the playoff berth that comes with that. And now the Titans have the opportunity to go to Houston this Sunday, a noon kickoff on News Channel 5, and clinch home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs as the conference's #1 seed. And maybe more importantly, the chance to get a first-round bye, the only bye now in the playoffs, goes to the #1 seed. Derrick Henry, give him a little bit of extra time to get back going, get Julio Jones back going, and hopefully be as healthy as this team has been at any point in the season at the most important time of the season. Of course, that is playoff football in January. Speaking of Derrick Henry, there is news today, ESPN reporting that Henry will be cleared to return to practice tomorrow. Good news, by the way. It comes on his birthday. Henry turned 28 today, apparently getting the sign-off from doctors that he can get out there and join practice and ramp things up. It is very unlikely that we will see him play on Sunday in Houston, but this would open the 21-day window for Henry to be available and be able to rejoin the team and play. And obviously, even if the Titans win this weekend and have the bye, they could wait a long time to officially activate him and put him on the roster. But it gives him plenty of time to ramp things up in practice and get ready to go. And this is best case scenario for the Titans. They have figured out a way to win the division with Derrick Henry missing what will be the final 9 games of the regular season. They've put themselves in the position, if they can beat a 4-win Texans team on Sunday, that they will have the #1 seed, home field advantage for the playoffs, and a bye that allows Henry to get as close to 100% as he can be. And I mean, here's the thing. I think he could go out there this week physically and get back to running the football. He just hasn't done it for a long time. So where's the conditioning level? Where's the timing? All of that stuff. That would be the concern right now. Not necessarily that he would re-hurt it. It would just be, where is he physically at this point? By bringing him back now and the time that the Titans have allowed themselves, the way they finished the season, I don't think you have that worry anymore. One of the things we were wondering here on this program was, if he gets back for the playoffs, what kind of a Derrick Henry do you have? You know, we're sitting here at 9 weeks right now that he's starting to ramp things up again. This was always viewed pretty much as an 8 to 12 week injury in terms of the rehab. He has obviously done a remarkable job. He's built like a Greek god. We all know that. So you have him coming back physically ready. But once again, what was he going to look like in the playoffs at 9 weeks or 10 weeks or whenever you needed to bring him back? Could he be anything like the Derrick Henry that was carrying the ball 27, 28, 31, 32 times a game and racking up the huge numbers at the beginning of the season? Or were you going to see a limited type of Henry where you're looking at 12, 13, 14 carries? I'm still not sure we're going to see him carry the ball 30 times, but I think you can expect a pretty decent workload from Henry given the time he has here. Because in essence, it's almost going to be like the start of a season. He won't have the off-season training. He's going to be picking that up from scratch, essentially, here. But he's going to have basically 3 practice weeks to get ready for that first playoff game, if the Titans can win on Sunday. And I don't want to gloss over that, because remember, the Titans lost to the Texans when they played them here in November. That was that atrocious game where they had 5 turnovers. Still almost won, still probably should have won. But they still have to go to Houston and get the job done the way they have the last couple of years when they went down to Houston and won on the final week of the regular season. They're going to run the football. They got to hold on to the football this time around. They got to continue to play the great defense that they've played. But I think it helps them in the fact that they did lose to Houston the first time. If there was too much celebrating going on Sunday night or Monday or as they come back to the facility, that's an easy reminder that if you don't do what you're supposed to do, things can go very poorly against the Texans on Sunday, and that would be awful. That would be the worst case scenario. The Titans won't fall very far. They'd be the 2 seed in all likelihood, assuming the Chiefs are able to win their final game. But the Titans still would have to play next week then, on Wild Card Weekend. And that speeds up the timetable on Henry. And more importantly for the team, it means you have to play another game. And as beat up as this team has been, 89 players used, an NFL record throughout the course of the season, you want that week. You want the week to rest and recover, to get Henry at 100%, to get his timing back, and get ready to go. And then you only have to play 2 games to get to the Super Bowl, and they would both be in your stadium. That is the perfect scenario for the Titans. So this week's game in Houston means a lot. And they got to go play well. And they got to get the job done to make sure that that scenario that everybody's kind of salivating over right now comes to fruition. So that's the great news. The bad news is today we found out that there was a citation from Metro Police for misdemeanor assault and fear of injury against Titans outside linebacker Bud Dupree. It all stems from an altercation at a Walgreens in North Nashville on Sunday night. Apparently, some people that Dupree was with went into the Walgreens. It's not completely clear whether Dupree was with them at the time or not, but got into some kind of an argument with some of the staff in there. They went out, they came back in. Dupree was definitely with them this time. The staffers started videotaping them with their phones, and that's when all heck broke loose, and there became this altercation in there, and ultimately a couple of the employees ended up with cuts. Dupree was involved, and now he's facing this charge from Metro Police. It's not going to be any severe thing long term. You know, this is something that I think will be handled both by the team, by police, by Dupree, by his lawyers. But it's just a distraction. On a night that they win the AFC South, everything's going well for the Titans right now, and now you deal with this. So that's the disappointing news of the day. Now back to kind of an opinion part of this. And again, our phone lines are open, 737-7767, if you'd like to get in and chime in on this conversation, on any part of it. But is there any other option for Coach of the Year in the NFL than Mike Vrabel? I know Matt LaFleur's done a great job in Green Bay. He's won more games in his first 3 years as a head coach than anybody in the history of the National Football League. He's done a remarkable job. And by the way, while he had Aaron Rodgers, and that's a huge perk, the Packers were basically a 500 team the couple of seasons before LaFleur took over. So the idea he's won that much in his first 3 years speaks to the level of the job he's done. And they've had a bunch of injuries this year as well. LaFleur's done a great job. Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, we saw them over the weekend clinch the AFC North. Nobody expected that. Nobody expected that of the Bengals. And oh, by the way, thank you, Cincinnati, for putting the Titans back into position to win the #1 seed in the AFC by beating Kansas City. Zach Taylor's done a remarkable job. Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia has done a really good job with the Eagles, but it's not a very good division. They're not going to win it. So nice job, but that's it. But Mike Vrabel, he was expected to have an all-time great offensive team this year, with a 2,000-yard rusher back, one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, a rising star in A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones at wide receiver. That's what was expected to happen. He's played more than half the season without Henry. He's played half the season without Jones. He's had Brown miss 4 games. Tannehill hasn't been nearly the same. At points of the season, the Titans played without their top 3 running backs and top 3 wide receivers. And yet they still have won 11 games and repeated as AFC South champions. And if they win to get to 12-5 on Sunday, they will be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Has anybody done a better job than that? And oh, by the way, a big reason why they've done it, besides plugging in all these guys with the 89 players used, has been the development of the defense. The Achilles heel of this team last year, this year has been the strength. And who is the designer and the architect of that defense? Well, it's Mike Vrabel along with Shane Bowen. Those 2 guys who took so much grief for what the defense looked like last year have been in charge of one of the best defenses in the league this year. They've gotten the job done. When you put all of those circumstances together, all of the injuries, all of the games lost, all of the players who have to step in and step up, you see the offense not nearly as productive as it was expected to be, and you see a defense that has risen to the occasion time in and time out and been frankly dominant down the stretch of the season when nobody thought they were any good at the beginning of the year. The credit has to go to the staff. Credit the players, credit the guys who were on the field who did it. But you have to credit Mike Vrabel and this staff for pulling everybody together, taking guys off the scrap heap at times, from the practice squad or the street, and bringing them in, putting them in a uniform, and getting them to produce. That has been the strength that Mike Vrabel has possessed this season more than any other. No excuses, no panic, just go out there, do your job, and we'll have a chance. And the Titans have, week in and week out, and now they're the best team in the AFC, at least through the regular season it would appear, because of that mindset and because of his leadership. Matt LaFleur, incredible run in Green Bay. He deserves all the credit you want to heap on him. Zach Taylor, amazing turnaround in Cincinnati. Nick Sirianni, nice job in Philadelphia. But when you're talking about the coach of the year in the NFL this season, given everything on the table, there is no other option than Mike Vrabel. And when the Titans win on Sunday in Houston, if they can do it, and wrap up that number 1 seed, every vote for coach of the year needs to go to Mike Vrabel, because he has been the number 1 reason. His leadership has been why the Titans are in the position they are, despite it all. And he should be rewarded as coach of the year for that. Our phone lines are open, 737-7767, the number. We would love to hear from you tonight. All the lines are open, no wait. Call us up, be a part of the program. We'll also get to some reaction from Sunday's win, the AFC South Championship, and much more here on SportsLine on News Channel 5+.